Good morning and welcome on board another edition of the program The Papers on Canal 2 English. My name is Leslie Fambu and I'm glad to be your host today on another edition of the program The Papers. We are coming to you live from Douala, the nation's economic capital. And today we shall be looking at what the papers say in Cameroon. Like I always tell you, we examine the papers every day on Canal 2 English, and we in the second segment we look at we analyze what the papers are saying. We unveil the program today with L'Oeil du Sahel, which captions on President Obama's intention to deploy U.S. troops to Cameroon. The papers say Cameroon should watch out. It might not be a good intention. Read more on page 3. La Meteo this morning captions on Operation Sparrowhawk, saying there are plans to arrest some individuals in the days ahead. Details on the story says 15 ex-managers of Campost are on the list of those to be arrested. You can read more on page 4 of the paper. West Littoral this morning captions on Pentecostal church that blocks the barrier of a notable in Bayangam. That should be in the west region in Cameroon. Details on the story says tradition is a daggers drawn with Christianity. Le Messager this morning captions on a sensitive story on page 3. The story says the Prime Ministry is a daggers drawn with the Ministry of Finance. The problem, the paper says, stems from the release of goods at the ports. You can read more on page 3 to quench your thirst on that story. Charles Metouk slammed a 15-year jail term. Details on the story says the ex-Director General of Sonora was sentenced yesterday. You can read more on page 5 of Le Messager, today's edition. La Nouvelle Expression visits the same story, saying the ex-Director General of Sonora has been slammed a 15-year jail term. The details on the story says the long-awaited verdict finally fell yesterday. You can read more on page 3. Those were the stories we examined today. We are providing enough time for our guests on the story on the program to comment on these stories. Good morning once more, Eli.
Good morning.
Eli Smith, thank you very much for respecting another rendezvous.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
And good morning, Kejan Henry, you are a veteran journalist on English Desk.
Oh, come on, veterans.
We are glad to have you to give us your commentaries.
Good morning to you and to our televiewers.
Yes, so we unveiled the program, Mr. Eli Smith, with the papers are still focusing on U.S. troops in Cameroon. Is there something behind this? Why are the papers so interested in the story?
No, I think the euphoria is over. I think it's normal for the papers or any journalist to try to look at the in-depth of why the United States decided to deploy their troops in Cameroon, because you may understand that you may recall that the same United States refused to help Nigeria because under the ground that the Nigerian troops were committing human rights abuses. But are the Cameroonian troops better in terms of respect of human rights? The answer is no, because we have reports from Amnesty International, we have reports from international crisis groups accusing the Cameroonian armed forces of gross human rights violations. I think it is true. The Americans, I think the problem with the Americans is that they have other reasons why they decided to deploy their troops to Cameroon.
What are the reasons?
Well, one, I can give two reasons, if you may.
Yeah.
First of all, the first one is a reorganization that has taken place at the hierarchy of Boko Haram, where you have two individuals called Khaled Banawi and Mahamat Noor.
Yes.
Those are the some who are ruling Boko Haram today. The second one is the incapacity of the sub-regional organizations and the countries to be able to, first of all, the CEMAC sub-region or the ACAS, to raise up the $100 billion they said to help in the fight against Boko Haram. And the third reason is that the fear in America is that as Boko Haram becomes stronger, they might ally themselves with people in the restive Niger Delta region in Nigeria.
So the leadership of Boko Haram presently is posing a problem to the international community?
Of course, yes.
So are you saying that the leadership, those guys are very competent to carry out what they're doing?
Yes. For example, when you have two people with a wider experience and wider exposure in international jihadism, then you have to be afraid. Banawi is a close ally to Mokhtar Belmokhtar, who is the head of ACME operating in Sahel, while Mahamat Noor is reported to have been close or reported to be close to Muhammad Mullah Omar, who was the spiritual leader of the Taliban and very close to the current leader of the of Al-Qaeda, whose name is the Egyptian Ayman al-Zawahiri. And the other thing is that they want to federate all the different Islamic groups operating in Africa, bring it from the Horn of Africa, East Africa, Al-Shabaab, Mujao, Acme, then you have Boko Haram in the Cameroons and Nigeria.
So are we saying that, Mr. Kejang Henry, are we saying that Boko Haram is reinforcing and is getting stronger?
Well, every organization normally has to strategize and re-strategize, and that is just what Eli is saying. You know, when some time ago they had to push them to the wall after the Paris summit, you know, where our heads of state met with French president, they decided to put up a collective front. Know the incursions carried by Chad, that probably led to, you know, the disintegration of the jihadists, and know what the Nigerian army did not very in the recent past. So now they have to reorganize and re-strategize, and Eli said it all, you know, trying to federate all the jihadist movements to put up a collective front, and they might be attacking from too many fronts. Now you talked about, or Eli talked about the probably meeting with the Niger Delta, which is down south.
Exactly.
Which is down south. Now they can be attacking from the back door.
Exactly.
So let us not forget that we might be concentrating our energy or our resources towards the north and forget to close the back door.
Yes.
And so they may come from behind. So it is very obvious that...
The other day we were brainstorming on the same issue, and I told Eli said that Boko Haram has been defeated, and I told him that they might be trying to come out with other plans, like you're just saying. And today you're supporting my point of view.
Yeah, the point of correction. I said when it comes to position, a frontal warfare, Boko Haram has been defeated. And
Okay.
as he has said, and I said it, when it comes to asymmetric warfare, it's very difficult to defeat them. And about the Niger Delta is that if there is a federation between the Boko Haram, or what is called today Al-Wilaya of the West African region, the danger is the problem of the Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea is a strategic zone where the Americans want to reduce their dependence of the oil from the Middle East and focus in the Gulf of Guinea, which is a vital supply route for crude oil that comes from Nigeria, that comes from Cameroon, all throughout the Gulf of Guinea. So when there's that thing, the danger is to see Boko Haram spread and attack countries like Congo, go beyond all those things. I think that's the reason why the Americans are there.
And to say that, well, the Cameroonians may probably mistake their presence in Cameroon probably to open up a war or to disintegrate the country. I don't think that is the more reason, because there are a lot of interest, you know, in trying to protect, because know that Turkey is equally in the Gulf of Guinea, France is in the Gulf of Guinea, Britain is there, Germany is there, and recently Russia stationed, I think, their fleet. So you can understand the stakes are high. So it is but normal that they probably monitor what is happening.
Yes, televiewers, the papers focused today also on the Charles Metuk sentence yesterday. Yesterday we speculated that this guy might be slammed a very, very punitive sentence. I want to put it that way. Kejang, today, 15 years for Charles Metuk, former general manager of Sonora. He's been accused of embezzling the sum of 180 billion from CFA. On the program yesterday, we were saying that 8 billion from CFA. Yes. Thanks for the correction. We were saying that it's not good to put people behind bars before
we force them to pay the money,
judging them.
No, anyway, that is,
excuse me.
That's a civilized.
What is your take on that?
No, sentence? But anyway, he was sentenced before. You know, he was given, I think, seven-year sentence.
Yes.
And so there was an appeal. Of course, you have a right for appeal.
Yes.
And generally, we know what happens in Cameroon after you appeal. They might go beyond that. He's been accused of 7 counts. You know, when he was, in fact, he was stripped of his function as the GM of the Ore Refinery on the 13th of February. And now 5 days after, he's supposed to hand the keys. And then 2 days after, that is on the 18th, he had access to his office. Now, one of the counts had keys to his office, the badge as the general manager, because the official badge, when you leave, you have to, you know, remit all those things. Yes. And of course, the fact that he had to sign on the 15th, you know, payment order for a contractor, Glencore, you know, to pay them off. So they could consider that as a dirty deal. After having left the office officially as the general manager. Well, he was given 15 years jail term, one of his collaborators 12 years, and 2 of them acquitted. Mwele was acquitted, Mingle was acquitted. But then it tells you that the wings of the Sparrowhawk is still very on, and we got information recently, press information, that some of the cells in the monkey house in Kondengui.
In the monkey house?
I
like the appellation.
have been innovated, probably to welcome new tenants. Who knows who goes there next?
Okay. What is your take on that story, Ellie Smith?
Well, my take, like yesterday, I am not for the... I wonder if somebody wants to be sentenced, that the procedures should be respected. Legal procedures should be respected. Now, the other thing is that if you have embezzled money, you need to be arrested. Saying that, well, you go free and then you refund the money, it calls for people to continue embezzling. But the problem is that it's good to fight against corruption, but it should be free and fair. It should not be a kind of selective fight against corruption, whereas you have a number of people... Scores settling. Because we have also seen here, I said it yesterday, there are a number of people who are under arrest, not simply because they are corrupt, because there are very corrupt officials still going around who have not really been a victim of any type of charges, but simply because some of them who have been arrested is simply because they have political ambitions, or they have supported people who have ambitions.
Mr. Smith, I want to differ with you there.
Yes.
Do you think there can be smoke without fire? We're talking about 108 billion francs CFA. Is it possible to permit somebody who has embezzled that amount of money and Cameroonians are suffering to go free? Don't you feel that the government is doing something good?
I have not said I've not refused that the government is not is doing something. I've not said the government is doing something bad, but I'm saying that it should be holistic. We should not have sacred cows. If the government is serious about the fight against corruption, it should affect every sector
and those who are concerned.
And everybody should be, which means that, as Kejan just said, the prison cells in Yaoundé, Douala, or anywhere in the country should be renovated to arrest everybody, because all of them are suspects. And until they are all arrested without having some sacred cows that, okay, I'm not going to touch this person because, then there's always going to be suspicion.
Ellie Smith will finally have a whole cabinet.
And let me just...
whole cabinet in the prison cells.
It will be a very good thing.
Let me just chip in very smartly to say that for 12 years that he ruled as the GM of Sonara, he has overdued. For 20 years that Fonjinam ruled as the GM of the Shipyard Engineering Company, he overdued. And for maybe 25 years or to 30, that someone like Adolphe Boudiki has ruled as the GM of the National Hydrocarbons Corporation is overdued. Now, if he accumulates up to about 200 billion, now, what will you tell me about what the government is doing in probably to check what is happening? You allow somebody rule for too long, and the day you think that maybe he's nurturing some political ambitions, now you hold that person responsible or accountable for probably embezzling money. Now, did you put in breaking mechanisms to make sure that they don't pilfer?
Yeah, we understand. To finalize this debate, let's talk about plans to arrest officials at Campos, because the paper still focused on that this morning. They say the man who is behind the Operation Sparrowhawk, popularly known in Cameroon as Opération Epervier, I'm not quite good in French. He's going to continue the campaign at Campos. What is the take on the story?
Yeah, it still falls in line with what we are saying. Don't forget that President Biya announced in his 2014 end-of-year address to the nation that the Operation Sparrowhawk will continue. In fact, it was very categoric. Now, since he announced, I think 4 or 5 big heads have gone behind the bars. Well,
our man of the former Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development is at the hospital, and yesterday we announced on the program that Operation Sparrowhawk met him there. The Sparrow arrested him at the hospital. Those were the headlines of yesterday.
Well, arrested him. I don't think yet. Maybe like Smith said, there are procedures.
Yeah.
There must be procedures.
No,
remember that probably at times there's a melodrama in all these things.
Yes.
Fonjina was arrested on the day we spent Labor Day together. He was the GM. Labor Day, that year he was arrested. Then, I think 2-3 days after, he was arrested just after the board meeting. It was so spectacular And then they whisked him, and it took time for the files to be opened. In Oni, it was a similar scenario. You know, they were arrested. It's so spectacular. Well, it reminds me of the FIFA arrest. So when the machinery goes on, you know, it blossoms. So the arrest in Camp Post, if at all, it will go to the end. It started a long time ago when the former Minister of Post and Telecommunications, coming from the Mongo Division, probably, in fact, made Camp Post what it is today. Now they have carried out innovations, but these are old documents that are going to dig for those who actually pay for the monies of the Cameroon Postal Union. Okay,
what is your take on that story, that campus officials, are you in support of what he's saying? We're moving towards the end of the program.
Yeah, it's true. I think it is a procedure that has been going on, but once again, it should respect the judicial norms. You should fight against corruption relentlessly, because corruption is one of the reasons hindering the development of this country.
Well, thanks very much, Kejang Henry, senior reporter, for respecting our rendezvous today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thanks, Mr. Ellie Smith, for contributing once more.
It was a pleasure being here.
Thanks, televiewers, for watching another edition of the program, The Papers on Canal de English. I've been Leslie Fambu, and I'm delighted to be your guest on this show. Thanks for your kind attention, and goodbye. Let's take another rendezvous for tomorrow.